Welcome to Inside Insights, your quick hit of tips, tools, and trends for manufacturing, distribution, and Dynamics 365 Business Central. Brought to you by InsightWorks.
Welcome in, everyone. It is great to have you with us for this deep dive. I want you to picture a scenario for a second. You are standing in the middle of a high-volume manufacturing floor. You've got, 5-axis CNC machines running these incredibly tight tolerances, automated guided vehicles, moving pallets of raw materials all over the place.
In a highly choreographed environment.
Exactly. A highly skilled workforce executing this complex production schedule, millions of dollars of capital equipment, all working in perfect sync.
Right.
But then you look a little closer at how this modern marvel of engineering is actually documenting its progress.
And that's where the illusion breaks.
Yeah. You see an operator shut down their spindle, pull off their heavy gloves, walk over to a physical, literal paper traveler, and try to remember exactly what time they started that specific milling setup.
Like 3 hours ago.
Right. 3 hours ago, so they can scribble it down with a tiny golf pencil. I mean, it is like outfitting a Formula One car with a state-of-the-art telemetry system, but relying on the pit crew to manually write down the lap times with a handheld stopwatch.
It completely undercuts the entire investment.
It really does.
It creates this massive data disconnect. You have this incredibly advanced physical operation, but the digital reflection of that operation is entirely compromised by human memory and manual entry.
Yeah.
And that disconnect is exactly why we're analyzing this today. We're really looking at the operational gap between the physical shop floor and those back office systems.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission today is to explore the mechanics of moving away from those manual tracking bottlenecks.
Right.
We're going to look at the foundation of native ERP solutions, specifically Dynamics 365 Business Central, and then examine how specialized third-party tools can just completely transform a manufacturer's operations and profitability.
Which is crucial right now.
Yeah, we're pulling apart a really comprehensive 2026 breakdown on optimizing shop floor time tracking within the Microsoft ecosystem. And we need to start with the sheer financial leak that comes from manual tracking.
And that financial leak is often much, much larger than plant managers realize because it hides in the margins.
Yeah, they don't see it on a single invoice.
Exactly. If you're relying on paper time cards or, say, end-of-shift spreadsheet entries, you are introducing a profound level of friction into your costing models. You aren't just dealing with someone occasionally forgetting to log a time.
Right. It's a daily thing.
It's systemic.
Yeah.
Daily inaccuracies that distort your labor costing and by extension, your job profitability.
The rounding is what really stood out to me when you look at the raw data. It sounds so minor, right? An operator rounding up by 12 or 15 minutes because they just can't quite remember when they transition from setup to runtime.
It's innocent human error.
Innocent, yeah, but run the math on that. If you have an operator making $30 an hour, 15 minutes of phantom time is $7.50.
Which doesn't sound like much until
you multiply that across 100 employees on the floor, over 250 working days a year.
Right.
You are looking at nearly $200,000 in completely unverified labor costs.
It's staggering.
It's a massive hidden leak in the operating budget, and that is before we even talk about the compliance risks of inaccurate brake tracking.
What's fascinating here is how those tiny inaccuracies compound, not just financially, but operationally. The 2026 Guide on Manufacturing Time Tracking breaks down the operational cost of delayed data, and it is severe.
Yeah.
When production data is entered hours or even a full day after the fact, you effectively blindfold your floor supervisors. They lose the ability to manage the floor in real time.
Right, because if a machine goes down or a bottleneck forms at a specific workstation at 10 a.m., but the data isn't logged into the system until the end of shift at 4 p.m., the supervisor has lost 6 hours of reaction time.
Exactly. That delay turns what could have been a quick 10-minute routing adjustment into a massive exercise in reactive firefighting.
Yeah.
You allow small, isolated daily issues to snowball into major scheduling bottlenecks that impact downstream delivery dates. And the collateral damage extends straight into the human resources department.
Oh, man, the HR nightmare.
Think about the administrative burden this creates. Your HR team is forced to do double duty. They have to take these delayed, often messy, handwritten records or fragmented spreadsheets and manually reconcile them against massive payroll systems like ADP or Ceridian.
They are essentially acting as forensic accountants every Friday afternoon.
That's exactly what it is.
Chasing down missing entries, deciphering bad handwriting, manually calculating shift differentials. It's an administrative nightmare that artificially inflates your payroll processing costs.
Completely.
So the logical first step to fix this is moving to a centralized system. The breakdown we're analyzing heavily features Microsoft's cloud-based ERP, Dynamics 365 Business Central, positioning it as the foundational fix for small to mid-sized manufacturers.
And it is a robust foundation. Business Central natively includes shop floor data collection capabilities. It allows you to utilize the production journal or timesheets to log attendance and tie it directly to your capacity planning.
Which is a big step up from paper.
A huge step. You can natively update production order statuses, moving a job from planned to in progress or finished, and have that instantly reflect in your general ledger and inventory levels. It integrates your operation routing, your setups, and your runtimes right into your core costing engine.
For anyone managing a facility, bringing all of your attendance, job timing, and inventory updates into one unified digital environment is a vital step. You are finally giving the business a single source of truth.
Yes.
But, as the analysis points out, there is a very hard ceiling to these native capabilities.
There is, and it comes down to the user interface on the floor.
Yeah.
The native Business Central system, while incredibly powerful on the back end, is still heavily reliant on traditional data entry at the point of execution.
Right.
Out of the box, workers are expected to interact with a standard ERP interface. They are relying on keyboard input to navigate fields and log their time.
Which is completely counterintuitive to how a shop floor actually operates.
Exactly.
If you are a welder or a machinist or an assembler, you are likely wearing gloves. Your hands might be covered in cutting fluid or heavy grease. The environment is dusty. Asking that worker to stop what they are doing, take off their PPE, walk over to a workstation, and type alphanumeric job codes into an ERP screen is a massive disruption.
It's a momentum killer.
It really is. It slows down adoption because, frankly, it is more difficult than just scribbling on a piece of paper.
It introduces unnecessary friction. Furthermore, the native out-of-the-box configuration doesn't come optimized with barcode scanning or touchscreen-first interfaces tailored for a rugged environment. And the limitations extend back to the HR side as well. While the data is digitized, native Business Central still largely requires manual review and calculation for complex payroll rules. It doesn't inherently automate the granular logic required for dynamic overtime calculations or specific union break rules without heavy customization.
So what does this all mean? It means that Business Central is a brilliant engine. It processes the transactional data flawlessly, but it lacks the specialized steering wheel that the actual workers on the factory floor need to interact with it efficiently.
That's a great way to put it.
You can't ask a master machinist to suddenly become a data entry clerk without killing your throughput. And that brings us to the operational pivot in the analysis. To supercharge the floor, you need a specialized third-party manufacturing execution system, or MES add-on.
Yes.
And the specific solution highlighted here is Shop Floor Insight, developed by InsightWorks.
It's worth noting that InsightWorks released this back in 2010. We aren't talking about a beta software. This has been refined across thousands of deployments for over a decade.
Right, it's battle-tested.
Exactly. And the architecture of Shop Floor Insight is designed specifically to bridge the exact interface gaps we just discussed in native Business Central. The primary focus is eliminating friction at the point of data capture.
The first major technical advantage that jumped out to me was that it is hardware agnostic. For an IT director listening to this, that is a critical detail.
It changes the whole deployment model.
It does. You do not have to rip and replace your entire infrastructure or buy proprietary $3,000 industrial terminals. The system runs on fixed terminals, which means you can deploy inexpensive Chromebooks across the floor. You can run it on personal devices or tablets, and it functions securely even in disconnected environments.
The offline capability is vital. Manufacturing facilities are notorious for having Wi-Fi dead zones.
Yeah.
Maybe a back shipping dock or an area surrounded by heavy metal racking.
Oh yeah, signal drops all the time.
Shop Floor Insight can cache the data locally and sync it back to Business Central the moment the connection is restored. This ensures the operators are never locked out of their workflow just because a router drops a signal.
And we completely eliminate the keyboard. Employees simply walk up to a terminal and use a standard scanner to scan a barcode on their employee badge and then scan the barcode on their physical production router or traveler.
It's instantaneous.
That instantly clocks them into the specific job, operation, and machine center. No typing, no searching through drop-down menus. You scan and you are working.
And while the operator experiences a simple scan, the back end is executing complex logic. Shop Floor Insight doesn't just record the timestamp, it performs the automated math.
Which HR loves.
Exactly. When an operator scans to switch from a setup phase to a runtime phase, the system is actively calculating the time elapsed. It automatically applies your specific shift differentials, calculates the overtime thresholds, and deducts mandatory breaks based on your configured labor rules. It completely removes the supervisor from the business of manual payroll math.
One of the most interesting technical details in this section is how they handle security. In a fast-paced environment, buddy punching, where one employee clocks in for another, is a real issue.
It's a common vulnerability.
Shop Floor Insight includes integrated facial recognition and photo capture right at the terminal. It ensures the person scanning the badge is actually the person standing there. And the brilliant part is that it executes this without requiring complex IT domain setups or Active Directory overhead.
It's very clean.
It brings enterprise-grade biometric security down to a mid-sized shop floor seamlessly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the hardware, the scanning, the biometrics, these are all just mechanisms to achieve one goal, flawless data capture. Because Shop Floor Insight is embedded directly within Business Central, that perfectly calculated verified data feeds straight into the ERP in real time.
The single source of truth is actually true now.
Right. Supervisors are no longer looking at yesterday's news. They have absolute to the second visibility of the entire floor. They see exactly which operator is on which machine, the current cycle times, and where variances are occurring right now.
That real-time visibility is powerful, and the flexibility extends beyond just fixed workstations. The material delves into the mobility and back-office harmony that this ecosystem creates. We talked about fixed terminals, but for roving roles, think maintenance staff, quality control inspectors, or forklift operators who are constantly moving on it. The system offers smartphone swipe-on and swipe-off interfaces.
Mobility is key for those roles.
You are giving mobile workers a tool that actually fits their workflow.
And it integrates directly with other modular tools like Warehouse Insight, which runs on handheld mobile computers.
Okay.
This means you can seamlessly combine your labor tracking with your material handling.
That's a huge convergence.
It is. An operator can clock into a job and on the exact same device, scan the raw materials they are consuming from inventory. It unifies the labor and the material transactions into a single clean data stream.
Which brings us back to that HR nightmare we discussed earlier. You have this beautiful, clean data stream flowing into Business Central. How does this system solve the Friday afternoon payroll reconciliation problem? Because you still have to get this data into ADP or Ceridian.
It fundamentally changes the workflow through exception-based approvals. This is a massive paradigm shift.
Okay, break that down.
Instead of an HR manager or a floor supervisor sitting down and manually auditing line after line of normal expected time entries, the software runs the audit. The system flags the anomalies.
Well, that's smart.
A supervisor logs in and the dashboard essentially says 95% of your entries perfectly match the scheduled shifts and routing times. However, here are the 5 exceptions you need to review. One operator missed a punch and another hit double time on a specific job.
You are collapsing hours of administrative auditing into minutes of targeted review. You only look at what's broken.
Yeah.
And once those few exceptions are cleared, the data doesn't require a costly, custom-coded API middleware to get into your payroll system. It utilizes configurable CSV exports that natively map to providers like ADP. You bypass the need for expensive custom development entirely.
That is a crucial point for total cost of ownership.
Yeah.
You aren't constantly paying developers to maintain a brittle API connection every time your payroll provider updates their system.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We are moving beyond just capturing data and into the AI horizon.
Yeah.
Because you have this flawlessly structured data living inside the Microsoft ecosystem, you can leverage Microsoft's analytical tools.
Yes.
The analysis highlights the integration with Power BI. You aren't just looking at a static report. You can pull up a dynamic dashboard that visualizes your non-productive time, your rework trends, and your machine utilization rates across different shifts.
And it aligns perfectly with Microsoft's current release wave, specifically the deployment of Business Central's Copilot AI agents. When you have high-integrity data, you can train AI to monitor it.
It's the next frontier.
We are seeing AI integrations that automatically detect subtle anomalies in time data. It's an AI agent functioning as an always-on auditor. If an operator logs 14 hours on a routing step that historically takes 2 hours, the AI instantly flags it as a probable error before it ever reaches the supervisor's exception queue.
It is shifting your management team from being retroactive auditors to strategic operators.
Mm.
The AI handles the validation and your humans handle the physical facilities.
Exactly.
But if you are a plant manager or CFO listening to this, you are inevitably waiting for the catch. You are wondering about the implementation timeline and the cost. The breakdown provides a very clear ROI reality check using metrics from Shop Floor Insights' own deployment data.
The financial barrier to entry is surprisingly low for this level of enterprise functionality. The analysis cites costs as low as $7 a month per employee, plus the standard Microsoft device licenses for your concurrent terminals. When you compare that monthly subscription to the $200,000 in phantom labor costs we calculated earlier, the software practically pays for itself in the first pay period.
And the implementation isn't a massive, disruptive, multi-year IT project. They outline a fast 4 to 6 week deployment for a fixed price setup, which includes the necessary training. That speed to value is critical for a mid-sized manufacturer who can't afford to have their floor disrupted by consultants for 6 months.
The specific benchmark provided is compelling. A 50-employee manufacturing shop can realistically expect to see efficiency gains of 20 to 30%.
That's significant.
It is, but it is important to clarify the source of those gains. You aren't achieving 30% efficiency by simply making your machines run faster or by reducing headcount. The ROI is generated by eliminating the manual validation hours, drastically reducing the rework that stems from delayed communication, and recovering all of that lost administrative time in the back office.
It is about optimizing the entire value stream, from the moment a barcode is scanned on the floor to the moment the payroll file is uploaded. Moving from a manual tracking system, or even struggling against the friction of a basic native interface, to an optimized MES like Shop Floor Insight is a transformational step.
It truly is.
It empowers your team. When you give an operator a system that works instantly and gets out of their way, they can focus on their actual craft building great products. It isn't about setting up a surveillance state. It's about removing the operational friction that frustrates your best workers.
And if you want to model out those specific efficiency gains for your own facility, the analysis recommends utilizing the ROI calculator available at shopfloor4dynamics.com.
Right.
You can input your specific employee count, your average burdened labor rates, and see exactly what that 20 to 30% efficiency gain translates to in hard dollars for your operation.
It is highly recommended if you want to put actual numbers behind the theory we've discussed today.
This does raise a broader underlying question, though, and it's something I think you should consider as we wrap up.
Okay.
We've detailed how these integrated tools perfectly capture every second of operational timing and feed it into analytical AI for real-time visibility. But as that data pool grows, consider the next logical evolution.
Where does it go from here?
In the near future, could these time tracking systems transition from being retroactive records into predictive safety and quality tools? Imagine an AI agent monitoring the floor that notices a specific machine operator is experiencing micro delays in their physical barcode, scanning a few seconds slower here, a slight hesitation there over the last hour.
Like a change in their baseline pattern.
Exactly. Could the system identify those micro delays as an early biometric indicator of severe physical fatigue, predicting a potential workplace accident or a critical drop in machining quality before it even happens? It entirely changes the concept of time tracking from a historical ledger into a predictive operational safety net.
That is an incredible perspective, using time tracking not just to measure the past, but to protect the future of the floor. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it gave you some actionable insights for your own operations, and we will catch you on the next one.